Hello and welcome to Express News. In the next half an hour, we'll give you all the latest updates. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with our top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a video conference with CMs of 10 states to discuss the corona-related situation, emphasizes on the need to trace and test all those who had come in contact with an infected person within 72 hours. Prime Minister underlined that what has emerged from the discussion is an urgent need to ramp up testing in Bihar, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal and Telangana. He said that the containment, contact tracing and surveillance are the most effective weapons in this battle. He also said target of bringing down the fatality rate below 1% can be achieved soon. India's COVID-19 recoveries have crossed the historic peak of 1.5 million. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, with 47,746 patients discharged yesterday, the total number of recoveries stands at 15,83,489. With 871 deaths recorded in the last 24 hours, 45,257 fatalities have been recorded so far. The case fatality rate has further fallen to 1.99%. Currently, the active cases stand at 6,39,929. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, the total number of COVID-19 samples tested so far is 2,52,81,848, including 6,98,290 samples tested yesterday. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Expert Committee on Vaccine Administration under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul will meet tomorrow. The committee will consider logistics and ethical aspects of procurement and administration of COVID-19 vaccine. The committee will engage with all the stakeholders, including state governments and vaccine manufacturers. Maharashtra continues to top the list with 9,181 new cases recorded yesterday. In Maharashtra, 6,711 patients were discharged and 293 COVID-19 deaths were also reported in the past 24 hours. The number of active cases so far stands at 1,47,735. In Tamil Nadu, 5,914 persons tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. They included 5,879 residents and 35 who had returned from outside the state. Chennai continues to show progress in the fight against COVID-19, recording below 1,000 cases for the fourth day in a row, but it still topped the list in the state, accounting for 976 cases, followed by Chengalpattu with 483 and Thiruvallur with 399. In Karnataka, 4,267 new cases were recorded yesterday. The number of active cases so far stands at 79,908, while 5,218 patients discharged and 114 COVID-19 deaths were also reported in the past 24 hours. In the national capital, Delhi, 707 persons tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. The number of active cases so far stands at 10,346, while 1,070 patients discharged and 20 COVID-19 deaths were also reported in the last 24 hours. In Arunachal Pradesh, 76 new positive cases were detected on Monday, while 110 patients recovered. Currently, there are 636 active patients in the state and 1,592 patients have been recovered from COVID-19 so far. Former President Pranab Mukherjee underwent a successful brain surgery at the Army's Research and Referral Hospital yesterday. The surgery was performed for removal of a clot formed in the brain. His condition remains critical and he has been kept on ventilator. A team of doctors is keeping a close watch on his situation. 84-year-old Pranab Mukherjee informed in a tweet that on a visit to the hospital for a separate procedure, he is tested positive for COVID-19. He was hospitalized. Thereafter, he requested people who came in contact with him the last week to self-isolate and get tested for COVID-19. President Ramnath Kovind spoke to Pranab Mukherjee's daughter Sharmishta and inquired about his health and wished him a speedy recovery and good health. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh visited the R&R hospital and inquired about the former president's health. Rajnath Singh was at hospital for around 20 minutes. Aarogya Setu app registers more than 15 crore downloads. The app alerts people if any known or person in their vicinity has tested positive. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu completes his 3 years in office today. A book chronicling the third year in office of Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, titled Connecting, Communicating, Changing, was released by Union Ministers Rajnath Singh and Prakash Javadekar at Uparashtrapati Niwas in Delhi today. The electronic version of the book was also launched. The book, which runs into more than 250 pages, has been brought out by the Publications Division of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Speaking at the event, Vice President said that book showcases mission and outcomes of interaction with different sections of society. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh urged people to read the book and said that book's title, Connecting, Communicating and Changing, fits perfectly to the personality of Venkaiah Naidu's of firm conviction and dedication. Speaking at the event, Prakash Javadekar hailed Venkaiah Naidu's speeches, saying students should read the book titled Connecting, Communicating, Changing to learn the flow of the language. President Ramnath Kovind congratulated M. Venkaiah Naidu on completing 3 years as Vice President of India. In a letter, the President said Venkaiah Naidu as Vice President of India has emerged as an inspiration for posterity to learn from his ability to transform a mix of wisdom, energy and spirited enthusiasm into creative solutions for sustained nation building. President Kovind also complimented Naidu's role as Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Addressing the occasion, INB Secretary Amit Khare said that the book Connecting, Communicating and Changing will inspire the youth and generations to come. He also said that the ministry will ensure to compile all the speeches of President, Vice President and Prime Minister and make it available on both online and offline platforms. In Bihar, normal life continues to remain paralyzed in flood-affected areas of the state. Over 74.40 lakh people across 16 districts are reeling under the impact of floods. In all, 24 people have lost their lives in flood-related incidents in Bihar. The flood situation continues to remain grim in Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Samastipur, Sitamarhi, Gopalganj, East Champaran and Saran districts. 33 teams of NDRF and SDRF are carrying out relief and rescue operations in the affected areas. About 5.82 lakh people have been evacuated so far. 12,000 affected people have taken shelter in relief camps in Bihar. Gandak, Burhi Gandak, Bagmati and Kosi rivers are flowing above the danger mark at many places, though water level is falling. The Met Department has forecast mild to moderate rains in catchment areas of various rivers in North Bihar as well as Nepal in the next 24 hours. In the massive landslide that hit Rajmala in Idukki district of Kerala on Friday, 52 lives have been lost so far. 3 more bodies were recovered from the site today. Joint search operation on war footing is being undertaken by the National Disaster Response Force, police and fire force officials, armed forces and forest officials together in Idukki district of Kerala. Kerala Chief Minister said as some bodies are suspected to have been swept away into the Petumudi River, the search will cover a distance of about 16 km downstream to retrieve the bodies. He also said the search will be continued till the last missing person is being found. The Kerala government has set up 686 flood relief camps across the state, strictly adhering to COVID protocols. Over 22,800 people belonging to 6,967 families have been accommodated in these camps. 217 families have been accommodated in Kottayam district, while 1,432 families are in 125 camps in Pathanamthitta. In Wayanad, 81 camps have been set up where over 4,200 persons belonging to 1,232 families have been accommodated. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that the state, which has been receiving 427 mm of rain on an average in August, received 476 mm during the last 10 days. Flood-like situation is prevailing in many low-lying regions of the state, mainly in Alappuzha, Kottayam and Pathanamthitta districts. The high-range areas are in high alert as multiple landslides are being reported. In Uttarakhand, several shops were damaged and road blocked after a landslide occurred on Badrinath National Highway in Chamoli district following heavy rainfall last night. Heavy rains also lashed Dehradun, flooding several rivers, the waters of which inundated residential areas located close to the banks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday held meeting with chief ministers of 6 states to review the flood situation. PM emphasized on better coordination between all central and state agencies to have a permanent system for forecasting of floods and extensive use of innovative technologies for improving forecast and warning system. Supreme Court allows government to continue with the construction of bridge while Manipur High Court hears dispute between government and the construction firm. Attorney General requested the Supreme Court not to stay construction. He told court that China completes its project swiftly and in time, but India's credibility is under question. India has to start construction of first bridge so that Myanmar is not frustrated. Centre tells Supreme Court that the committee is considering allowing 4G internet access on trial basis in one district each in Jammu and Kashmir. Restoration of 4G on trial basis will come into effect after 15th August. Attorney General told the court that additional affidavit is being filed. In Kerala gold smuggling case, a 2-member National Investigation Agency team is in Dubai. In connection with its probe, the team has sought support from the UAE authorities in interrogation of key accused Faisal Farid and a couple of others who have been taken into custody by them. According to the sources, Farid's company is in charge of sending diplomatic back to India. Experts also say that he took help of forged documents and Hawala businessmen for the smuggling. In connection with the Sushant Singh Rajput case, the Enforcement Directorate has reportedly seized some electronic gadgets of the Chakrabortis and dumped data is likely to be recovered with the help of forensic examination. Sudiksha Bhati, a promising student from Uttar Pradesh's Gautam Buddha Nagar, who had received a scholarship of around 4 crores from HCL to study in Bobson College of USA, died in a road accident. A Mumbai resident's life was saved by a timely alert by an Ireland-based Facebook staffer who noticed suicidal activity on his social media timeline. The 27-year-old man had been posting videos on Facebook that made it appear as though he was preparing to end his life. Facebook officials feared any attempt to contact the man directly could drive him to expedite his suicide plans. Company official contacted Delhi police and Delhi DCP passed on the information to his counterpart in Mumbai. Mumbai police team reached the man by midnight and counseled him. The Delhi resident had lost his job during the pandemic. The number of coronavirus cases has crossed 2.02 crore worldwide. So far, a total of 7.38 lakh people have died from coronavirus worldwide. United States and Brazil remain worst affected in terms of infections and fatalities. More than half of the world's cases have been recorded in the United States and in Latin America and the Caribbean region. One crore 32 lakh 1,953 people have been recovered so far globally. United States has recorded 5 crore 2 lakh 51,446 cases so far. Over 1.66 lakh people have died. President Vladimir Putin said that Russia had become the first country in the world to grant regulatory approval to a COVID-19 vaccine after less than 2 months of human testing, a move hailed by Moscow as evidence of its scientific prowess. The development paves the way for the mass inoculation of the Russian population, even as the final stage of clinical trials to test safety and efficacy continue. Despite a study that found nearly 1 lakh children were infected with the coronavirus in the final 2 weeks of July, US President Trump has reiterated that children are essentially immune to the virus and that schools should reopen for in-person instruction in the fall. Donald Trump said the reopening of schools was crucial for the health of the American economy. However, many public health experts have disagreed with Trump's assertion that children don't get very sick. California Governor Gavin Newsom said that the state cannot afford to enact an executive order signed by President Trump, partly restoring enhanced unemployment payments to people who lost jobs during pandemic. Washington wants California and other states to use some of their pandemic relief funds, but Newsom said more than 3/4 of that money has already been obligated and distributed. He said there is no money in the piggy bank from that fund. The World Health Organization has warned of a huge gap in funding to help fight the coronavirus pandemic. WHO chief said there was a vast global gap between the organization's ambition for a fund to tackle the virus and the funds already pledged to fight it. The WHO chief said that the funding needed for vaccines alone was over $100 billion, while aid the WHO was only 10% of the way. Brazil has surpassed grim milestone 1 lakh deaths from COVID-19. The death toll in South American nation continues to climb as most Brazilian cities reopen shops and dining, even though the pandemic has yet to peak. In Brazil, fatalities have been tickling upwards for 5 straight weeks as the virus spread into new regions, with daily deaths averaging more than 1,000. A total number of cases in the country has surged past 30.57 lakh. Spain has undertaken the United Kingdom with over 3.70 lakh COVID-19 cases and become the Western European country with the highest number of coronavirus cases. According to the latest data, the only European country which has a higher number of cases is Russia with over 8.97 lakh cases. The UK currently has over 3.11 lakh cases of the coronavirus. In terms of the number of deaths, the United Kingdom is still the top European country with 46,526 deaths, followed by Italy, France and Spain. Amid continued increase in coronavirus cases in the country, the government of Bangladesh has ramped up efforts to enforce health regulations among the people to contain further spread of the virus. According to the figures released by the Directorate General of Health Services (DGHS) on Monday, Bangladesh has reported 3,438 deaths and over 2.6 lakh coronavirus cases since the first corona-positive case was detected in Bangladesh on March 8. More than 1.5 lakh people have recovered during this period, which indicates a recovery rate of 57.75%. In Lebanon, Prime Minister Hassan Diab announced his government's resignation and amid outrage over the Beirut port explosion. Diab made the announcement following a cabinet meeting on Monday afternoon and claimed the disaster as the result of chronic corruption in politics and administration. Sports now, Romelu Lukaku scored a record-breaking goal as Inter Milan secured their place in the Europa League semi-finals with a 2-1 win over Bayer Leverkusen. Lukaku is the first player to ever score in 9 Europa League matches in a row. Nicolo Barella fired home an excellent 20-yard strike to give Inter the lead. All 6 hockey players who have tested COVID positive so far are being monitored constantly, and their vitals were being checked 4 times every day in the morning, afternoon, evening and in night before sleep. The BCCI has received official permission from the Government of India to conduct IPL 2020 in the UAE. Tournament chairman Brijesh Patel confirmed to Doordarshan News. Also, Bruno Fernandes converted a penalty in added extra time to lift Manchester United past FC Copenhagen 1-0 and reach the semi-finals of the Europa League. The Portuguese playmaker made no mistake from the spot in the 95th minute to break the deadlock after Anthony Martial had been fouled inside the box. Well, that's all we have in Express News. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.